Hi, this is Tom Callos. This is a coaching session for school owners, instructors, and staff members of the 100. First, in the way of coaching, I'd like to remind you that the basics of business management, that is knowing your numbers and hosting your meetings and scrutinizing your activities and keeping your school clean, and all the mechanics of advertising, when and how much and what you're going to do, and the planning of your calendar. Let me remind you that these things are not the things you live for, and they're not what your business, is. This is the getting dressed, using antiperspirant if you use it, and I hope you do, washing your face, brushing your teeth. This is tying your shoes. This is the mechanics that I expect you to get down and do with disciplined consistency without a lot of thought. Yeah, you don't know them when you first start, but then you get that stuff down and you go to work on it, and it cannot be the primary focus of you or your staff. It's got to be second nature. Being dressed when you walk into the ring to fight. You don't go in naked. You don't get up in the morning and go to work and say, damn, I forgot to wear my pants. You know how to get dressed. It's second nature mechanics of your business. The reason I mention that is because a lot of school owners and a lot of, consultants, they get stuck there, kind of like some, stunted growth thing. And you just keep going over and over it like it's the most important thing. My advice is, hey, you got to get that down. You got to get it down fast. How hard is it to put out a calendar? How hard is it to set a schedule? How hard is it to stick to it? The reason you have to do these things as just second nature is there are so many other things that are more interesting, more exciting, more uplifting, motivating, that you need to put your energy to, that are 1,000 times better for your business. Of course, you may have great intention. You're going to change the world. You walk out of your house completely nudie patootie and drive down the road, you're going to get some negative attention and probably not get to do what you set out to do. You have to have the mechanics down, so get them down. Don't spend a career, majoring in minors. There are problems to solve. There are people who need help in your community. There are ideas to cultivate. And if you get stuck in the, oh my God, we got to have all these scripts and these checklists and all this, and you make that the predominant focus of your school, well, you're not much different than a lot of people. But it's not where we want to head as real master teachers. You're going to make your school something more than a business. You don't want to struggle to make a living. You want to be recognized for the brilliance of your work. You want to bring together a team that helps you to make magic. Now, if there's any aspect of mechanics that you don't understand, my phone number, you got it. Call me. We'll work through it. If it takes one call or 1,000, it doesn't matter. Have that as your base, and I want to work from there. Now, talk about working from there. I want to introduce you to the Pollination Project. I've had the honor of being brought on as an ambassador to the martial arts community. The Pollination Project gives $1,000 away in many startup grants every day of the year. 365 days a year, $1,000 goes to somebody. Some grassroots, group or person doing something socially responsible that needs some seed money. It should be one of your students getting ready to apply for that. So I want you to go to the Pollination Project and become familiar with it. And then let's just go to the next level. And I want you to remember that your school is a pollination project. Really, that's what you're doing. Everything about the Pollination Project is everything about your school. A succinct description of the program that is global. Think globally, act locally. That's the Pollination Project. It's about stories. The people they're funding, these are stories created by different people. Just like in your school, it's not your story. It's the story of what your students do with what you train them in. It's how you participate in their life. It's a project portfolio extraordinaire. The projects that they're funding are so diverse, and there's so many touching, moving, different kind of things that they're involved in. They're just funding, but the stories are what's powerful. You're just teaching. It's the stories of your students and how they put your teaching to work in their lives and the community that are the stories. This is a project that sets out to do something that's very, very much like what you're setting out to do. And if you were my student, if I had influence with you, I'd say, I want you to go to the Pollination Project. Of course, I want you to come up with something that we can apply for a grant so we can do some seed funding for one of your students. It's something you're doing in your community. But more importantly is I want you to study it like it's a lesson for the master teacher, because it is. It's really the essence of what I work on. There's so many congruent factors between what the Pollination Project is about and what a really damn fine martial arts teacher, someone who's really taking it out of the dojo and putting it to work in the world. There's so many things that are the same. I think you should study it. I think there's language there to borrow and use. There's a great example of project portfolios. This is a group on a mission to make a difference. What's the difference between what you're doing and what they're doing? Well, besides $1,000 a day, you're investing your time and energy into your students and your community, and that is your story. That is your power. That is what differentiates you from any young, inexperienced person who can put up a sign and start teaching classes on a mat. Distinguish yourself. Learn to refine your message. That's the Pollination Project. Now, my phone number's on the screen. When you need help with your martial arts school, I'm somebody you can turn to for no-nonsense advice. But I have to warn you, the burden of running a great school is not on me, it's on you. You must develop the consistent practices of fine school management. That must be your base, and from that base, we have to build a structure on there that's made of something completely extraordinary, completely out of context to what anybody else you know is doing. Your unique selling proposition, your mission, or as my friend Julia Butterfly Hill would say, your tree. What's your tree? The Pollination Project. Tom Callos. I'm here to help.